Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the NBA trade deadline is less than 2 weeks away. We're going to go rapid fire through some NBA trade candidates. Plus, do the Lakers suffer from trust issues? And can Tyrese Maxey lead the Sixers to a place that Joel Embiid could not?
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today we're talking about the latest NBA trade deadline intel, the struggling Lakers, and the always enjoyable Tyrese Maxey. And we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me as always from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
Happy Friday to everybody. As a gift to my co-host, I would like to invite them to go listen to Locked On Rockets and hear those folks talk about Alperen Sengun and his performance last night, since they thought he was a for sure all-star.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize. Haize, Matt's got a point there.
Yeah, I love it when Max has an axe to grind. When Matt has an axe to grind, but more times than not, he still ends up on the wrong side of history.
We are less than 2 weeks away from the February 5th trade deadline, and there has been plenty of recent reports about which players could be available. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go rapid fire through some names that are out there, and I want to get your guys' takes on them. Let's start with this report from The Athletic that says that Hornets forward Miles Bridges is drawing significant interest from the Bucks, Warriors, and Suns. Matt, what do you think about Bridges and potentially the fit with one of those teams? The Bucks and Warriors more on the desperate side. The Phoenix Suns is an interesting inclusion there.
Yeah, the Suns actually had interest in him too last year as well. Like they've done a lot of business with Charlotte. You'll notice that Mark Williams, Nick Richard, both on the Phoenix Suns. They've done a lot of work with Charlotte, so that makes a lot of sense from that perspective. It's Friday. Everybody's trying to get to the weekend. I should be restrained in my. No, I don't think I will. So it's gonna be great when the Bucks have Kevin Porter and Miles Bridges on the same team. Two guys who, by the way, should not be in the NBA. Can't wait for that combination. And there are some other names that I would throw out there as well historically, but I'm going to leave those out. I think it's gross that there's all these teams. One, by the way, the plus minus with Bridges is terrible if he's not buffeted by Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. And Bridges' effort sometimes is absolutely just horrendous, just from a basketball standpoint. I think he's a losing player. He comes with all of the baggage. I do not think these teams should be trading for him, but I do think that if teams think you can help, the Bucks being this desperate, Haize, is bad to look at Miles Bridges.
That's the thing that's the loudest thing about it is that, like, let's look at the Bucks that we've heard, the players that we've heard the Bucks have been interested in, like Zach LaVine, which, Zach LaVine is a flawed player. I do think he gets a bit of a bad rap because he was in a spot to be number one, and he's never been that, but still a little bit rough there with a big contract. Miles Bridges, hey, hopefully these players help Giannis stick around. I mean, that's ultimately the Bucks goal there. As far as Bridges as a player, though, I mean, just as a basketball player, yeah, he has huge flaws. He also has some skill. He is a skilled basketball player. I do think if you put him in the right situation, he can help a team win. But hey, I mean, I guess that's where the point we're at. It's better than talking about Jonathan Kuminga.
Not even going to mention the fact that Kuminga is hurt now, and all of those trade discussions we had about him have been moot in the first place. I want to go to the Kings because they're very open for business here. Let's hear from now former Locked On Kings host Matt George, who recently jumped on an episode of Locked On Cavs.
Regardless, the Kings are aggressively trying to shop some players. They're trying to move on from some of these veterans, get younger, and ultimately free up rotational opportunities to go full on youth movement through the remainder of this season. If they lose basketball games, well, great. If they win games because their youth is playing well that's an easier pill to swallow than winning games because Russ and DeMar and LaVine are each scoring 20 plus and ultimately giving you nothing in this meaningless season and towards the future of the Kings, which is where their attention has shifted now to start a true rebuild.
So, Haize, one name that we did not hear in that clip was Domantas Sabonis, but he definitely falls under that category of veterans that might be available. We've heard his name come up in multiple reports that he might be available. Can Sabonis be a difference maker for a contender, do you think?
I do think that. Listen, Bonus sometimes gets a bad rap. Defensively, he's not great at all, but he's a really good rebounder. He understands to stay around the paint. He can't hit the occasional three. I think you put Sabonis in a situation where he's your 2 or your 3 as far as best player, and I think he can definitely contribute to a team. You just have to cast him in the right role. I think that's the conversation about a lot of players. It's not that if players can help you win or not. For most NBA players, it's do you have the right situation for them to thrive? And I think Sabonis definitely is one of those players.
Toronto being linked to them, I think, is really interesting. It was really weird on the prediction markets. Like Sabonis was down at like 20% to get traded like a month ago. And I was like, what, why? Like they're clearly going to move him. Like he's their best asset. You can get the most back from him. Toronto being interested is like really interesting. Cause I'm just like, okay, you can't have all these guys, right? You can't have like, you can't have Barnes and Ingram and Sabonis and RJ Barrett and Quickly. And they want to get rid of Quickly, and that's known. Like Quickly and Barrett, if the Kings were to get Quickly and Barrett, I would actually be like, hey, if you get that with some draft capital and one of the young guys, I think that's like a really good steal. If I were the Kings, I would be hardcore pushing for Jamal Shed. That would be like that would be the thing that I don't want them to know I want, that I am really trying to get, because I think Jamal Shed's gonna be a really good player in this league.
Yeah. Go ahead, Haize.
No, I was just saying, the fact that Matt just talked about the Kings like they're a sensible organization. You got to want to move Sabonis, don't you? The Kings, with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan on the roster, that they traded for both those players within 12 months of each other.
Yeah, but also they got a new GM in place, right? It's Scott Perry now, and Perry's talked about how, like, I always laugh at it because he was like, it's going to take a long time. It's going to be a 5-year process. Maybe it might be a decade. You might just have to guarantee me the entire time. Job security, the number one value for every NBA exec.
Yep. Number 1 job for general managers, keep your job. Number 2 job, make the team better. The other lesser known name that keeps getting mentioned in Sacramento is Keon Ellis. That's a guy that seems coveted by a lot of contenders. And you watch Kings games, it's just like, why doesn't this guy play more? It kind of feels like. But is there a team that needs him the most, Matt? Keon Ellis, when you think about where he could fit?
Denver desperately needs another backup point guard and somebody who can get over screens and defend. Like he's a dream of Nuggets fans, but with them having Amick reported over The Athletic, they've got 10 teams lined up for him, and they're asking for a first. Denver doesn't have the stock to be able to go get that kind of a deal. I actually think Dallas should probably look at it. If you're able to be like, hey, we have Keon Ellis, Max Christie, and Cooper Flagg. You had like a rim protector, not Daniel Gafford, like a real rim protector. Not Anthony Davis, somebody who plays like a real rim protector. Like you all of a sudden have like a really good combo here. So I think they should be one of the ones looking at it. Everybody wants a guard who doesn't need the ball and can defend. So like Ellis is going to have like a lot of good suitors out there. He's going to wind up somewhere pretty good, I think.
Haize, is there a team that you like for Keon Ellis? Defense wins championships.
Yeah, defense does win championships. I mean, he can help just about any team that needs a guard. I mean, I think if you put him on the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's a match made in heaven. They won't get him though, but I think that's a match made in heaven.
Wes, does it make you pause at all that, like, look, I don't think Doug Kersey is a great coach, but I did think Mike Brown was a great coach. Mike Brown didn't play him a lot either. Does it give you any pause that we're gonna like that everybody's like, why doesn't he play more? The Kings are so dumb. Somebody go get him, and then they're gonna get him, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be like, oh, there's a reason that like they didn't play him that we didn't really realize. Do you think it's possible?
For sure, right? And, he is a career 41% 3-point shooter, but it's not like teams respect him. And so it might be from out there. So it might be a spacing issue. It's really hard to play a guy who is smaller, who doesn't really get to the rim, doesn't take threes at a super high volume, doesn't really play make. You know what I mean? Like you're sometimes you're just better off playing a bigger guy who might have more of a factor defensively. But I do think that Keon Ellis positionally is a good defender. I think maybe on the right team that has better spacing around him and just better players around him, the context probably matters a lot for a guy like Keon Ellis, which is why I think the teams that you've heard being interested in him do make some sense there. Speed round through the next couple of names here. Michael Porter Jr., we've talked about him a little bit here on the show. The Nets could look to cash in on him now during what could be potentially an all-star season for him. Haize, which team is the best fit for Michael Porter Jr.? Or, I could even word it this way, like Michael Porter Jr., trade deadline. Is that a guy that could change, make a difference this season in terms of, the few teams standing?
With Michael Porter Jr., I mean, I think the thing is that we've seen him contribute to a championship team before. So, like, I honestly think you get him over to Milwaukee with Giannis. I actually think he can play. He can be a better version of what they hoped Kyle Kuzma would be there.
Matt,
The Wizards. He and Trae Young are really good friends. You put him on the Wizards, and all of a sudden that offense is going to be at least baseline 20th. Okay, like defense, yes, I understand. It's the Wizards. Okay, we're talking about a low bar here. And if it's like, hey, we have Keyshawn George and we have Alex Sarr, and we do have other wing defenders, Trae Young, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, Michael Porter Jr., Alex Sarr, I actually get kind of interested in that. So I actually think that combo is one that they should look at.
I want to get into a couple more names here, but we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about the Lakers also, who, JJ Redick claimed might be dealing with some trust issues right now. We'll talk about that next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy, and you can do it with confidence because prices include fees up front, so the total is clear right from the start. With features like zone deals, they help unlock great seats at even better value, and whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Two more names that I want to get to before we get to the JJ Redick's comments about the Lakers here. Another one is Jonathan Isaac. This report from Brett Siegel that the Magic are open to trading Isaac. We're a couple years removed here, guys, from Isaac kind of being the best, quote-unquote, pound defender in the league. A lot of people were kind of calling him a couple years ago. But, Matt, when you look at Jonathan Isaac, do you think he's capable of helping a team right now?
I don't know, but I think if he goes to Utah, his book tour stops will be absolutely sold out.
Hey, do you like a Jonathan Isaac spot?
God. I mean,
That's too far?
You look at Jonathan Isaac and his ability to defend. He turned himself into one of the better defenders in the league. I think that can always help a team. The concern about Isaac for me is that, like, you can't play him more than 16, 17 minutes per game. You just can't. Otherwise, his knee's going to explode.
All right, I'm going to throw a crazy name at you guys. LeBron James. This is not a guy who's been mentioned in trade rumors. He's got that no trade clause. There's a reason why. Nobody expects him to actually leave the Lakers in the middle of the year. But the Lakers did just lose to the Clippers last night. They are going nowhere fast this season. They're clearly prioritizing Luka going forward. We have that statement from Rich Paul and LeBron James before the season that we just kind of are supposed to forget about, I guess. LeBron's not getting any younger. Why would he not look to try to play somewhere else and maximize the next, I don't know, year and a half of his career, however much longer he's going to play, like the twilight of his career? Why is he wasting it right now with the Lakers? Hey, should LeBron demand a trade?
Should he? Probably. Will he? No. Yeah, LeBron can still help teams. We all know that LeBron is still a very productive player at his age, but if LeBron's going to leave, I don't think anybody trades for that contract when he's just going to become a free agent at the end of the year anyway.
LeBron earned the right to pass on making championships his priority. Like, you're on that right. Okay. He's a 4-time NBA champion. Okay. Second best player of all time, or first, depending on your perspective. I don't care about that. But like, we just have to say this. Okay. If he wanted to, he could have won more titles, but he wanted to try and have it all. He wanted to live in LA, where it is so fun to live and the weather is so nice and his family likes it there. And he's got so much business and he does all these things with the production companies, Spring Hill Productions, all this stuff. He wanted it all. And that's what he won't leave. Like, he gave the Lakers more leeway than he gave the Cavs or the Heat, who both did better jobs of taking care of his career. And he just trusted the Lakers because it's the Lakers and because it's LA. So like, his priorities are just not there. I just think he's going to play out this year, make the $50 million, and then go play with the Cavs next year on whatever deal he gets. Trying to fit in that $52 million for any team who is going to be in a position to make that kind of a trade. Like, who can afford to trade $52 million worth of worth of salary, Wes, And for a guy that's 41 on his last year, like who's looking for that?
Nico Harrison.
Yeah.
I have one idea.
What's the idea, Wes? I'm concerned.
It's not going to surprise you guys.
Oh, God.
The Miami Heat have a
Miami?
$27 million expiring salary.
Congrats, you're half the way there, Wes.
And Andrew Wiggins, who the Lakers apparently covet. There you go. You're basically there.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Let's keep talking about the Lakers here because why not? The Lakers lost to the Clippers last night, and JJ Redick made some revealing comments after the game, hinting that too many players on his team are worried about their futures.
JJ said himself, it starts with Luka. Luka has the ball the most, but LeBron falls into this. Austin will when he comes back. I think Marcus Smart, to a certain degree, can fall into this as well. Like, you need to make sure everybody feels involved, because the more involved they feel on offense, whether because it bleeds into the defense or, as JJ noted, it could make them feel comfortable about their impending free agency or their place on the team as we get closer to the trade deadline.
I do encourage people to listen to that whole press conference because JJ Redick is classic JJ, just totally annoyed the fact that he has to do the press conference in the first place, giving a lot of short answers, and then kind of jumps into that long kind of answer all of a sudden. More specific quote from JJ Redick. He goes, quote, "We got to trust the pass. You know that starts with Luka. He's going to have the ball the most of everyone. He's got to trust the pass. Guys are worried about their futures, and that's what happens when you've got a team full of free agents and player options," end quote. Haize, what do you make of JJ Redick's comments among these Lakers struggles?
I mean, I think it's just frustrating. I think everybody's frustrated in LA right now, as they should be. Like, I'm not saying that, I was clear at the start of the season. I never saw the Lakers as like contenders this season. I always looked at this as a kind of a transitional year for the Lakers, but losing is frustrating. And I think it says something about the makeup of JJ Redick as a coach, that he's actually displaying that frustration, where some people try to be political about it. You can tell that JJ Redick is very frustrated right now. And like I've said with the Lakers, I hope they continue to be patient with JJ Redick as a coach, because I think they got a good one in JJ.
I think there's a couple parts of this. There's one, the idea of like Luka ball and whether or not it's going to be successful. And there's been some really good commentary, I think, from Locked On Lakers and some other teams, other people in the Lakers space about it. I personally don't think he can win with Luka ball. I don't think he does trust people. I think that he generates assists off of dribble, pass, shoot. Like, that's not really trusting your teammates. Trusting your teammates means letting them do things with the ball. And Luka doesn't let anyone do anything with the ball except him. They are just mechanisms to get him his points by passing. Like, there's a difference in that. The other thing here, though, I think is interesting is that what JJ talked about with everyone being concerned about trade rumors is that that team's disconnected. I really believe in this, that when you have a team where guys get really worried around the trade deadline, and I actually have a story to go along with this about JJ Redick. Back when JJ was with the Magic in his last years with the Magic, and about a zillion years ago, I actually sat there and I talked to JJ in the locker room when the Magic came to Denver, and I said, "Hey, do you even pay attention to trade rumors?" And he stopped and looked at me and said, "Every day. I check Hoops Hype every single day. Every day. I'm worried about it all the time." So, like, that was a really honest answer versus what most guys say, which is like, "I don't pay attention to any of that stuff," which is lies. And so, but it's reflective of like where JJ's head goes. JJ knows how hard it is to be in this spot when it's like, I don't know where I'm going to be. If you're Jake LaRavia or even Marcus Smart, who's been, dished around in Memphis and Washington. If you're Rui Hachimura, I think is a really good one. That's a player that still hasn't kind of like, his position is not really locked in the league. What if he winds up somewhere where the situation is bad? And again, this affects guys' careers, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money that you have to make in a short time. That to me, I think, is way more interesting, and it just kind of shows the instability that the trade deadline does create amongst these teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is a symptom of LeBron teams anyway, and I know this is now a Luka team, but it just feels like every year with LeBron, his teams go into the trade, whether it's that second stint in Cleveland, it just felt like a lot of these teams can get kind of upended around the trade deadline. It's a little bit different now because maybe, to your point, Matt, maybe LeBron isn't necessarily prioritizing championships and he's not applying as much pressure on the Lakers front office, but maybe now that's what Luka is going to do. And so, yeah, I think it's a great point and a great story from JJ Redick, who's obviously no stranger to these things.
I think it's actually harder with Luka because I don't think Luka's like LeBron. Like, LeBron would be the one that's like, we need to go get this guy. Go get this guy. Why don't we have this guy? Why don't we get me a wing? What are you doing? Why don't I have a guy who can shoot? Why don't I have a guy who can defend? Why don't I have a bit? Like, it was constant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I don't think Luka does any of that. Luka's just like, whatever you think, man. That's your job. My job is play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got beer? Like that's where Luke is at. And I think that makes it harder for the front office because honestly, I just don't think that Rob Pelinka knows. No offense, I just don't think Rob Pelinka knows how to build a team. Like, I just don't. I don't think he knows how to build a team, so I don't think he knows what to do. So I think they're kind of stuck here. I wouldn't be surprised if they stuck to the deadline. Who wants any of these pieces? Who's like, ooh, Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura? Ooh.
Yeah, especially if they're not willing to come off of any future first-round picks. I do want to take a moment to talk about the 76ers who got a good win over the Rockets last night. Tyrese Maxey, third in the league in scoring. We'll talk a little bit more about Tyrese Maxey. Plus, are NBA duos dead? It's all coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing's perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts, and it adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. It's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Let's talk about the 76ers. They got a good win over the Houston Rockets last night. Philly's playing really well lately. Joel Embiid and Paul George look good. They're contributing. They've moved up to 5th in the Eastern Conference. But it's Tyrese Maxey that we're going to talk about. He is their best player now. He had 36 and 10 last night against Houston. He's 3rd in the league in scoring. Haize, I texted the group chat last night. I was like, I really don't want to do, don't make me talk about the Sixers potentially coming out of the Eastern Conference, right? I don't want to do that segment. But I do think it's worth focusing in on Tyrese Maxey. And if he is now Philly's best player, is he good enough to lead the Sixers to an Eastern Conference Finals, an NBA Finals? Is he good enough to be that number one guy? What do you think?
I mean, I think in the Eastern Conference, yeah, it's kind of easier to be that guy that can lead your team, especially if you're a guard that can score extremely well. I think it's different just in general around the league. It's different when a guard is your best player, and Tyrese Maxey is fitting that bill. So there's a chance of it happening because it's the Eastern Conference. Now, as far as them actually winning a title, I think they're still pretty far off from that. But the way Maxey's playing this season right now, I don't see how we can completely eliminate it from being a possibility.
There is an undefinable non-statistic. Like, all the numbers are great for Maxey. But when I watch him, there is an undefinable thing where this is a guy that has it. And it's the same thing that everyone sees with Anthony Edwards. It's like if Anthony Edwards had the numbers. Like, the stuff that Maxey puts together in these late game situations, I just feel like he's going to make the plays. Made him again last night. Like, he made him again over and over again. He even made the game-winning bucket that they did not correctly call a goaltend. Like, he takes over these games. And if you really, when you get a chance, if you watch these games, try and catch as much as you can of see Maxey in the in-between possession clips of how he talks to teammates, what he's like on the bench. This has been what I've loved about him this year. Like, he's a leader, man. This is what they've missed. I'm not trying to drag Joel here. I just don't think it's made for everybody. I don't think everybody can do it. Maxey's a leader, man. Like, everybody rallies around him. Like, they are like, let's go. They're ready to run through a wall for Tyrese. That's the kind of guy that you need. And he has been that in big game situations, and he's efficient, and he's a great playmaker, and he takes over in the clutch. I think you get him in these late game environments, and you have a real chance for the Sixers to be able to go further than what their team should be able to. The most exciting, really silent part of this is just when it's Maxey and Grimes and VJ, when it's not the old guys are playing well, but when it's not, Maxey, Edgecombe, and Grimes are plus 10.5. They got a 118 offense, 108 defense. That team's really good when they have those three guys on the floor, and that's your future. This is what's going to be crazy is after the Embiid thing has, again, he's playing well, last 15 games, 28, but their future is suddenly really bright because of Tyrese Maxey.
It's crazy to think about where we were this time last year with the Sixers and just how negative and dark that whole situation seemed. Like Joel Embiid signing that extension, you just got Paul George, and none of it was working out. Versus what it's like now in Philadelphia, and the vibes are so much better, and it's because of Maxey and Edgecombe and Grimes, maybe to a lesser extent, but certainly part of it. He had 18 points, to your point, Matt, in the fourth quarter and overtime last night to help carry the Sixers to that win. He's been awesome. All right, it's Friday. We're going to end the show the way we do every week here with our fave of the week. Haize, we'll start with you.
I mean, after that game last night for the Chicago Bulls, how can that not be my favorite thing of the week? The way the Bulls played against the Minnesota Timberwolves last night was such a great send-off into the weekend. I'm going to be in the building with Derrick Rose getting his jersey retired. I know that hasn't happened yet. Like, it's going to be a very fun weekend. But that game last night, to see them and the defense of the Bulls play with at the end of that game, and to see Josh Giddey to have that game in his first game back after missing 11, that was a great moment personally for my team.
What can we expect from the Derrick Rose jersey retirement?
A lot of tears, a lot of emotion, and the city of Chicago really being on fire.
Are they playing the Hornets in that game?
No, playing the Boston Celtics.
Oh, okay. I just kind of assumed given the people that are on the Hornets or might be in the future. So my favorite thing of the week is going to be Steven Adams did a video from his house, his apartment in Houston. He still sleeps in a beanbag on the floor. He has a Rick and Morty Pickle Rick giant plushie. And he has like a gaming setup. And that's it. Like, that's it. I do not know how we have to keep Steven Adams in the league forever. I don't care if we have to clone him. I don't care if we have to like trap him in some sort of time stasis. I can't have the NBA without Steven Adams. He's too perfect.
He was 26 years old forever, and now he's 32. I don't know how it happened, but it just felt like he was in his 20s forever. I love Steven Adams. If you opened up his refrigerator, it's just all ground beef too. I saw a video from the Rockets where all of his meals is just bowls of ground beef. That's all he eats. He probably has to consume 200 grams of protein a day. That's probably the only way he could do it. My fave of the week is Tyrese Maxey's VJ Max hat. I love that hat. I love it. Kind of speaks to what Matt was talking about before in terms of the leadership, kind of like bringing VJ Edgecombe under his wing, talking about them as a power duo and all these things. That VJ Max hat is also like really cool. It kind of has the potential to be a more coveted piece of streetwear than that Marty Supreme jacket that was going around in December. But this did get me thinking, and I usually use my fave of the week to springboard into my power rankings. And I was thinking, like, Maxey and VJ have the potential to be my next favorite NBA duo. Maybe not the best, but my favorite. And I was going to power rank my favorite NBA duos in the league right now. And I couldn't come up with any. Like, obviously, we know Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray.
Mm-hmm. Shea and Jalen Williams.
Is that like a duo? Like they play on the same team, but I don't look at them as like having that chemistry that a guy like Jokic and Murray have. Like Steph Curry and Draymond used to be that duo, but now Draymond is just like
no. I mean, they still have
infuriating.
Like,
they still have it, but he's infuriating. I'm not gonna make him my favorite. Like I want to do favorites, not best. And Draymond's been so bad this year on the court. I'm like, there's just not many NBA like duos that play off of each other as much anymore.
Why does Bam Adebayo not have that? Why does Bam Adebayo, with the type of player Bam is, why does Bam Adebayo not have that?
He did, and then they sent that player to the Pistons and Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. Yeah. I think honestly, your point, I think it's one of the problems with the Rockets is nobody has any chemistry.
Yeah.
Like they're really good and they're going to be fine and they're going to make the playoffs and they'll probably make a run, but like KD and Alperen Şengün do not click. Reed Shepherd and Şengün do not click. KD and anybody really doesn't click. So it's like, it's one of the weird things about KD is like, you don't ever have anybody where you're like, oh man, the combination of those guys was perfect. Even when it was Russ, it was just like Russ did some stuff and KD did some stuff.
Yeah.
Might be some stuff going on in San Antonio though. I think in time, you're going to see Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama. I think those two will start to like really get it together. Castle's still a little bit like, I'm not going to get lost. I'm going to get mine. Once he chills out, I think he's going to be.
I think Castle and Dylan Harper can also develop like some of that guard screen action stuff that you're seeing with VJ and Maxey or Shea and all the other Thunder players.
Caden Duran.
Yeah, so that's what kind of where I ended up. I'm kind of at Cade and Duran too quickly. Like I got there way too fast on my list, but they're going to be up there.
And even though he's not an all-star, honestly, if you want this is like you gotta be like it's not big name star caliber, but like legitimately go watch like Denny Avdia and Donovan Clingan kill. Like that's a combo that everybody's like.
Is that you saying something good about Denny Avdia?
Yeah, he's not an all-star, but like that combination, like He's the only reason he's in all-star conversations is because of how good Donovan Clingan's been. But like they've been.
We're missing it. The best duo in basketball today, Anthony Davis in street clothes.
Yeah, unbeatable.
And the injury report, Anthony Davis in the injury report.
It's so consistent.
It's a constant.
The most consistent duo in basketball.
It is. Yep. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here next week on Locked On NBA Daily.